path, we're going to talk about what your mastery is for this month, which again is under the umbrella of love. So we're going to look at the total mastery for you this month, what your soul is here really integrating so that it can continue to move on in the most aligned and harmonious way. The new beginning will be an update. It will be kind of what the potential could be for you. And then the end of the month will bring in and usher in the duality, which will be the hurdle or the test, right? It will be the that kind of last final test to see if you're really ready to move on and to see kind of what's coming next. And be fully integrated into what this June was here to teach you as a soul living here in this beautiful experience. So the mastery for you this month is all about manifesting vulnerability. And I love this. Not that I don't love anything, any of this, but it's the Archangel Chamuel who comes in to give you almost the angelic energy you need to really just open the heart. And so this is about finding new levels of release, of vulnerability, it's like tapping into those more subtle, sensitive levels within you to allow this really deep opening to happen. Again, if I go back to where you were in May, again, there's no good or bad. Everything was just an experience to get you right here, to get you into the perfection of this moment, to get you to understand what's important, what's not important, where you were coming from, because it was a projection, which we consider a hyper chakra, right? A projection from your third eye chakra. You were outside of center. You were playing in realities last month that weren't even manifested yet. And so when that happens, you can feel a bit disconnected from what was going on. You can feel a bit maybe even confused, right? The shadow energy, if you stay in a projection either in the past too long or in the future too long, what'll start to happen is you'll start to block that energetic center, and that energetic center is the third eye chakra, which comes in at illusion when you start blocking. So it really has you distrusting the rational, logical mind with the intuitive, holographic mind. It has you have a lot of distrust in actually anything you could be projecting or thinking or precogging, right? In the mental arena, it could create that hyper spinning, which is too many obsessive thoughts, where maybe you weren't able to sleep a lot last month because there was just so much on your mind, so many potentials you were tapping and playing into. And so here with this mastery for you this month, it's really coming in, and it's Archangel Chamuel who's coming in. So if you find yourself having a hard time with this, I'd say definitely send a heartfelt prayer out to Chamuel, right? Angels can't assist unless you ask for the assistance, because there's a free will component here that we all operate under. And so to just send that heartfelt expression out saying, I need a little bit of extra help just getting vulnerable, getting into this moment. So think about where you're coming from, the obsessive tendencies, and whether this was dictated to you by your job and what you had to do, or if this was self-imposed, that you were really just trying to understand and create a reality that you could step into in the future, and got really obsessive about that, or everything that's going on in your mental arena right now, whatever and why ever the circumstances were that created this obsessive energy for you in the mental plane, whatever it was, it's saying the mastery for you in June is to trust that May you did it. May you really saw all the aspects. May you really created that business plan. You got really clear. You saw all the potentials. You went down every timeline, multiple timelines to try and understand, if this happens, what'll happen? If this goes this way, what'll happen here? If this domino falls like this, how's that line gonna look, right? And so you really calculated the entire way through May. And so now what it's saying is you've done that. You've done that. You can let it go. And this is where it's going to feel really vulnerable to you, because I'm assuming you're probably somebody who does this or can get into this heady space a lot. But here in June, what's really required of you is to trust. And this is vulnerability, right? To trust in yourself, to trust in everything you've aligned for yourself, to trust in what you've calculated, set up, conceptualized, thought about, planned for. It's to really trust. June is asking you to release the obsessive tendencies. And the mastery for you comes when you actually allow yourself to be in the moment, to start to see how everything you planned from May up until this point, how all of that now is going to start to slowly seep in and shift, how some of the things are going to work, how some of the things aren't going to work. And so it's asking you to be vulnerable to the path now, to be vulnerable to your journey, saying you've set yourself up for June. June now, they want you to release. They want you to let go and to just be here, open, exposed. No longer trying to reformat that goal. You don't need to continue to massage it to look a certain way. It's done. It's already set on your timeline. So now what you have to do is every day show up with no expectation, see what you feel, see what you think, see what shows up, and then based off of what shows up, what you feel, what you think, then make little decisions every day this day that then get you to the next decision. And so it's making decisions, decision by decision, step by step, day by day, and allowing yourself to really be vulnerable to this experience of what happens if I let go of controlling it, what happens if I just show up and deal with what shows up. It's like letting go of needing to have 10 answers ready for 10 different scenarios, letting go of all of that and really opening yourself, becoming vulnerable. And I assume for somebody like you who had that energy of last month, or whatever this specific project or whatever this life experience was that made you so obsessive last month, if you're here, it's almost probably going to be a very scary thing to really relinquish all of that control over this entire the picture of what you were holding. To just, it's like a clean whiteboard, right? It's like you've set that goal, you've done it, now erase it. And it's not that you're erasing it from where it's anchored into your future. It's still anchored there in its perfect totality as you've set it up. But what you're doing now is every day you're releasing any expectation of what it's going to take to get you to that goal. And so what that means is you're a total open, exposed vessel to live through experiences that will then help guide you towards reaching that goal in whatever and however that goal is going to show up for you. So the mastery for you is really about discovering how to be vulnerable this month. Long-winded way to say that. That's it. So your mastery and what you're being taught as a soul, what your soul teaching is this month, right? The bigger activation on a soul level for you that's coming in, that's going to open you up more to receive that integration of your love, the divine path, more of the purpose coming in this month. It's about learning how to be vulnerable and learning how to be in a moment without having to control the outcome, the expectations, having to control any of it. It's just surrendering to what is and then using what shows up to help guide you and navigate you deeper into where you're supposed to be going. Okay, so that's your mastery. Now we're going to go into the beginning of the month and the end of the month. So at the beginning of the month you have your full moon, at the end of the month you have your new moon. And so the right around the full moon, and I always say it's kind of the tens of the month is where I start to see the energy shift from the beginning of the month to then the new beginning, which is, from 10, which is the programming of it for your path, the 11, which is the gateway where you step through into the new beginning of this energetic cycle that you're in, which the energetic cycle that you're in is the vulnerability. And so here at the beginning of the month, the tens of the month, around that full moon, what's going to be coming in for you is a lot of courage energy. And I really, really enjoy this for you because it's saying, this can be taken twofold. It's saying that it's going to require you to have a lot of courage. And so you're going to get a boost of energy to really have courage to follow and to persevere through what for you is going to feel very exposed. You're going to feel the vulnerability right around the new beginning. How you know you're doing this right right? And how could you not do it, right? You're you, but it's all going to be perfect. Whatever happens, it's all perfect for you and how you need this experience to unfold. But, right after the full moon is going to help you kind of, the full moon illuminates where there is dysfunction, where there is duality. And so the full moon becomes this washing away or bringing up of the old to really step into the next phase. And so then in the tens of the month, then you start to integrate this energy of courage, which is saying you will get an influx of really heightened it's energy. Like, you probably will have a hard time sleeping. You might even do this through substance, right? Maybe you drink more coffee or go for more soda or caffeine or Red Bulls or whatever it is, right? You could even be craving energy. It's like that, like, supercharged superhero kind of energy, and it's going to come in for you. But at some point, it's going probably around the duality of the month. It's probably going to, in the 20s, it's going to start to subside. And so right around the 20s, I could see you probably getting into patterns of drinking too much caffeine or trying to sustain the really heightened energy that's naturally going to shift for you around the full moon. So around the full moon, there's going to be this massive influx of, just like we call it, Agni energy. It's that fire energy that's in the belly. It's just like you have so much motivation, so much determination. It's like you want to go out and do a run for whatever reason. I'm sorry, that's my projection. I hate running. So, so for those of you that love running, it could be like a double run or a double the length of a run, right? It's like there's just so much energy. And this is really coming in to also give you that, it happens around your solar plexus chakra, which means it's coming in to inspire you, the human, the person, to give you that boost of self-confidence, of self-worth that's going to be necessary in alignment to the intuition, the truth, what you've been thinking, what you've been playing with. And so really this boost of energy comes in to help you find new levels of courage based off of what you perceive to be truth, but that has not yet manifested yet. And so it's the courage not only to be vulnerable, to almost feel like you're exposed when you release and relinquish this control, to show up. It's going to give you the energy you need to show up each and every day, ready to kind of go to battle for what you need, even though you might not have control or know exactly what you need. It's going to give you that energy. And so, how this applies to what yours is a very interesting, I don't so much always see the May energy pulled into the new month energy as much as it is for you. So whatever this big project is, whatever the big kind of energy of May was that you were really working on, carries through. But it's interesting because it's like you have to relinquish all expectation of the May energy and become vulnerable to the evolving of this naturally. And so that's why right around the beginning of the month, just an influx of energy, courage, the ability to be expose yourself, meaning release any attachment to how you think it should go now, and be super vulnerable to how the bigger purpose. Again, remember, this June energy is all about the divine integration. It's about your high self, the as above, so below, integrating, which means your purpose now coming into your human path. And so to do that, the human path anchors in what you anchored in May, which is this expectation of a goal. And your little goal is this big, and divine's goal for you is like, oh, it's like the sun, right? And so you can anchor this, but then you have to open up so that you can tap into the hugeness of what this could turn into. And that's going to require the mastery of vulnerability, knowing that your limitations of your human mind can only serve 1% of what your divine self wants to create into this reality. So you have to kind of let go, be vulnerable, and then you're going to have courage. You're going to have this influx of energy, which is going to be, it's great because it's almost like it's like divine's keeping you busy. It's like divine's like really in the vulnerable state. Divine's going to give you so much energy, and it's energy to go for intuitively whatever you're feeling to go for that day again. So it's like, I want to run today, I want to create this today, I want to do this today. It's almost like intuitively, just these influences will come in, and I almost feel like divine's like, hey, look over here, hey, look over here, hey, look over here. And it's like trying to keep you distracted with other things that you're going to get an influx of energy for, so that you're not so super attached to the one singular goal that you set out for. Okay, so the next one, the duality comes up around the new moon, which again, I love the balance of this. So the duality comes up in the 20s, so it's going to start with the 20, the 20 of the month, June 20th, and then it'll keep going all the way through to the 30s hit, right? And so this is the time where you get tested. This is the time where you're literally going to be given kind of real world tests, although it be through non-physical energy. You're going to get initiated here. And so this is the test to see if you've really mastered your vulnerability, right? The activation that's kind of come through for you. And so where your duality comes in is a distrust. And so I really feel like come the 20s and the end of the month, through the beginning of the month, all that courage energy, I feel like there's going to be a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, a lot of movement. Right around the 20s, you're probably going to hit a wall. And that non-physical energy that's been lighting you up from the inside out is probably going to diminish. It's probably going to step back. All of the momentum you've been feeling, all of just the energy, the experiences you've been having, the little clicks in, right? The tiny little things that have kind of showed up, the synchronicities. Right around the 20s, I feel like it's kind of going to pull back, and it's going to be like, okay, do you really trust? And so what that does is, this is a hypo crown chakra, which means you've been open crown chakra, funneling all of this divine energy and all this love energy from high self in to keep you aligned to your purpose, to keep you moving forward towards your purpose. And then what's going to happen around the 20s is that siphons off, and it becomes like this little tiny funnel instead of this huge massive opening that you've had. And so when that happens, I feel like your energy is going to drop. I feel like you're going to get into old patterns of distrust. Things aren't going to feel as connected. And this is where the ultimate test in vulnerability comes in. It's like, okay, you were able to be vulnerable when you had all the energy and connections and little things coming in to validate you. Now, will you still have the trust and be able to be vulnerable to your path when it feels like all hope is gone, right? And so I feel like it's going to go dark for you in around the 20s of the month. And this is beautiful. I love this. I don't know what the new moon is at the end of the month, but the new moon comes in to be a new beginning. It's a complete wash of the system to align you to the next new beginning. And so this for you, if you can know, and this is why I think it's so important to energetically know kind of what's shifting in your path, but to remember and know that this is going to come in as a test, and to see if during a slowdown, during an integration phase, when the energy leaves, can you be in that? Can you trust that this is just a part of a cycle? This is just a part of a transition, a changing of guards here, where the next energy will be coming in right after this. But can you trust in yourself enough and what you've created and all of the connections and energy you've had pushing you forward? When that's gone, can you still hold the truth of who you are, what you're creating, and feel it enough internally that when everything outside of you slows down or stops, that you can really be the advocate for what you're building and what you're connecting to, right? And so this is the kind of final big hurdle that you're going to have to cross. But again, as long as you can stay vulnerable, as long as you can stay really in that the more you feel exposed, the more you feel like there's no protection, like like you're walking naked down the street and everybody's seeing every fault, every flaw that you see, right? The more you can see and feel exposed in what you're doing this month, the more in alignment to the mastery you are becoming. This is your goal, is to really tap into levels of vulnerability that you have not experienced before. And this is what you are being asked to go through so that you can, again, experience that divine love integration, which is really just coming back into the center, holding your truth, your authenticity. When you can do that, stay centered, then you are the divine embodiment of human and spirit in this moment in time. So that is your June. And look forward. If you don't have the Chakra Deck app, definitely download it. It's free. And you can experience daily kind of awarenesses that come up to help you stay fine-tuned to the journey. And then also in there, you can log into the Chakra membership and align to the red path so that you get all the videos that come through this month as well when they're launched around the new moon and the full moon. And then if you want to become a paid chakra member, you can do that. And we have live calls and we work through other things together, and you can kind of read all about that on the site. So with so much light and love to the red path on your journey, I cannot wait to see you right around the full moon, the beginning of the month.
The Chakras Root to Crown Oracle Deck is a tool designed to help people connect to their soul destiny. As humans, we live a birth-to-death cycle, yet as a soul, our existence is infinite. In each human life, our goal is to learn and connect to our authentic self. We seek guidance when we are repeating patterns and feel blocked from our purpose. This oracle deck breaks down a human's chakra system and uses that information as a roadmap. Each chakra contains physical, emotional, and spiritual information to navigate a clear path towards authenticity and awakening. By gathering perspective with a reading, you will gain soul-level wisdom. These insights bring depth to your spiritual journey and dissolve the blocks, unveiling your highest potential. Take the next step by selecting your layout and explore a reading today.